Hey everyone, it is Tailor Your Life and it is Wealth Wednesday. We're kicking off a new series of videos about why humans are programmed to make terrible economic decisions and how we can overcome them. Topics include why scientists trade chimpanzees to trade money for fruit, why we all think that we're excellent drivers and our optimism, and why we continue to choose Big Macs over salads. So let's get right into it. This is Tailor Your Life. I have a dream of owning my time and I believe that you guys can do anything. These videos are a daily discipline. They're meant to hold me accountable and inspire you as we grow together. So we're going to get right into the topics of why we continue to make these short-term choices instead of the long-term benefits. Human brains are hardwired for feedback. So when we make these short-term choices, we're basically choosing pleasure and we're avoiding pain as long as possible. Humans want to avoid pain at all costs, even perceived pain. So this is like filling out long forms or doing anything that might require effort or be more difficult because we want the pleasure and the feedback now. And when we get it, our brains tell us, ooh, this is good, you should keep doing it. So when we smoke, when we drink, when we overeat, these are all things where we get those positive feedback right now in our face. Now, what we don't get is the feedback from those long-term benefits. And how does this relate to our money and economic choices and savings? Well, when we save our money, instead of spending it now, we aren't able to perceive the benefit. A lot of us haven't realized the $1,000, $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 in the bank and the security that that gives us. Without having the feedback of how that feeling makes us feel, it's really hard for us to get our brains wrapped around not spending that $10 today and how that adds up in 3 years or 5 years. Our brains can't reach out that far. So we have to work really, really hard against our default hardwired setting to say, I want the pleasure now and I want to avoid the pain now, and really realize the feedback of, you know what? If I do save 10% of my income today, no, there's no initial benefit. You're not going to feel any pleasure. But in 1 year, 3 year, 5 years, the pleasure you feel when your tire goes out on your truck and you can just go out and fix it is immeasurable. So this is why we need to hardwire our brains and say, if we've made a bunch of terrible economic choices in a row where we've bought the full price coffee when we shouldn't have, when we've taken our family out to dinner 4 times this week, when we've eaten that cheeseburger for 4 days in a row instead of having a salad, we need to stop and say, how many short-term choices have I made right now? And do I need to reframe my mind to say, what would be the long-term choice if I stopped for 5 seconds and said, if what I was doing now and I was trying to make this choice in 5 years, what would I tell myself? That's the way we stop it. All right, to compound this is that humans love to stick at the default setting. Well, now you may say, no, not me. I'm an individual. I like to make my choices and manage my stuff, and I'm never that default guy. I've got specialized stuff. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and challenge you. How many of you guys have the default ringtone, the default background, the default color settings, the default settings on your television? How about this one? The default settings on your savings and tax accounts, and also the default settings for your healthcare, right? We love to stay at a default. Once something's set, we just write that out. So with our finances and savings, this is what we do. We have default savings. We know that we make X amount. We know that we spend that amount, and then by the end of the month, there's nothing left. That's our default. And so we go along with that in a vicious cycle of a default setting of this is what we make and this is what we spend. So that's what we expect. And when we make those short-term gains over the 2 weeks before our next check comes, we have little pieces of pleasure that hold us over till we get there. So how do we bust out of this? We make a new default setting, right? And this works for health as well. This is how I've been able to continue to go to the gym for the last couple months, guys. We have to set a new default. Automatically take that money out of your check and stick it away. This is your new default setting. You don't have $1,800, you have $1,600, right? You have to reset that default and ride that default out. And then eventually your brain will be tricked into realizing, oh my gosh, it's been a year and I now have $2,000 sitting in my bank that I didn't have before, and you finally experience that delayed gratification and nothing feels better. These are the best things in life because they're so hard to achieve. Those things where you work tirelessly towards without any benefit or gain, and then eventually it pays off in such a huge way. This is why we take so much pleasure in those things, because we don't get the little ones along the way. We get the big one at the end when we've sacrificed and scraped and pulled and worked towards getting that exact payoff that we've been searching for. And when we get that exact payoff that we've been searching for, nothing feels better. And guys, you know that I mean what I'm saying, because this is exactly what I'm doing with every single one of these videos and with my life. I'm waking up early and inconveniencing myself. I'm reading books. I'm taking time to make these videos. I'm taking time to do the right thing with my finances, go to the gym, eat right. All these little inconveniences, I'm making choices for 5 years from now. If I continue to do this work, where's it going to put me? It definitely is not pleasurable right now. It definitely doesn't make me feel great to put the work that I've put into my life over the last month, but I can already start to feel the benefit of what I've done, even though each day is painful. Each day I have to work hard to experience growth, and I want you guys to go out there and make these choices. Take 5 seconds when you're about to make a poor choice and say, I know that I'm doing this to make myself feel good right now. What would I do if I was making these decisions for 5 years from now? And then I want you guys to also stop and say, it's time to make a new default setting. Just tell yourself that. It's time for a new default. My new default is that I go to the gym 3 days a week. My new default is that I save 10% of every check. My new default is that I spend time with my children or my spouse. My new default is that we have a date night every Wednesday. My new default is humans are meant to be put in these. Trick your brain until you make it, and take time to make choices for the future. Guys, I know this is pumping me up. I'm inspired. I'm looking forward to the rest of the series. I hope you like this. If you think it's helpful, go ahead and share it with your friends. I'm looking forward to the payoff at the end of everything that we're doing together here. Let's grow together and reach our goals. We'll see you guys later.